One may wonder if, while he was matriculating through Midwood High School, the Pratt Institute, and Hunter College, a young Mitchell Silver had any idea that one day he would be the commissioner of one of the largest networks of public parkland in the world. Commissioner Silver, at last count, manages some 29,000 acres of land and more than 2 million trees in parks alone. To say it's a big job would be an understatement.
I concur. But at the announcement of his appointment, Mayor de Blasio described his pick for Parks Commissioner as a visionary with a passion for fairness and equality. Commissioner Silver is here, and he's taken time out of his busy schedule to share that vision with us today. Welcome to BK Live, sir.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much for being here, Commissioner Silver.
Thank you, Greg.
When you were a student at Midwood, did you ever imagine that you'd come to running all of NYC's parks?
No, it was not even a thought. When I was in Midwood, I was actually pursuing performing arts and also media. Never imagined that I'd actually be running the park system. So I have to say it was quite a surprise 30 years later.
That's excellent.
30 years, you took the long way around then. So you started at Midwood and you wound your way back through North Carolina.
I did.
A few other teaching gigs.
Correct.
In a small town called Boston, you may have
I've heard of it, yes.
So what was that path like professionally then? Is there anything that prepares you for running New York's parks?
Well, for one, you have to have a love for cities, a love for places, and also a love for people. At Pratt Institute, took a degree in architecture, which evolved into urban planning, got a degree in Hunter College in urban planning, but it was really a love for cities. At a very young age, I was fascinated by cities, went to the 1964 World's Fair. Yeah. Seeing the map of the entire city really left an impression on me, and just wanted to understand how cities work. And ended up going to Pratt and went to Hunter College. But it wasn't just about the cities, it was about the people. So for me, it's just having that love for understanding the anatomy of a city, how it works, and then how you can create a better place for people to live. So that really was the path, if I had to say, throughout. As I was just going through my career, I just wanted to be able to make a better place for people to live.
Now, Mayor de Blasio has called you a visionary. He says that you have a passion of fairness and equality, and you bring it to your work in government. I mean, all this praise that he's given you, how do you intend to fulfill all that praise?
Well, anytime someone sets that high mark, you want to make sure you set achievable goals. The equity, to me, is one that's probably a challenge, but very easy to accomplish. When I hear the word equity, it's fairness. And coming on board, the first thing we wanted to do to find out, were we being fair on how we distributed our resources, how we maintain our parks. And so we came up with this approach to look at what parks were neglected over the past 20 years. And it turned out there were about 134 that surfaced. That's where we focused our attention first. We're doing what we're calling a community parks initiative. We're now transforming essentially about 35 parks. For round one, we're going to do some more. And then we're doing this targeted improvement to 60 parks throughout our city, which basically we got done in a year. We want to focus on those communities that really had parks that had been neglected for 2 decades, kids and families that really hadn't seen a quality space. And so we want to continue on that trend throughout all 5 boroughs to make sure we bring quality spaces to people that really hadn't had them for a very, very long time. And we're going to continue on that mission to see where we can be more fair on how we care and develop our parks.
So when we look at like one of the flagship parks for the city, and definitely in Brooklyn, like in Prospect Park.
Yes.
Well, we heard you learned how to ride a bike as a young person. So you learned how to ride a bike in Prospect Park, but there's like a clear divide there. If you're over by Ocean Avenue, it's like the poor side of the park, and things are not as well kept as if you're in more Park Slopey, where it's all like lush and amazing and people laying out. So if we just take that as a microcosm, how do you sort of flatten the landscape there to make sure that everything is nice for everyone?
Right. Well, I believe Prospect Park is nice on both sides. I grew up on the Ocean Avenue Parkside side.
So what are you trying to say, Brian? No.
Yeah, so, clearly we have the Prospect Park Alliance,
right.
We have the New York City Parks Department, and we are very quickly focusing on how we can improve the entire park. So now we have the new, in terms of the new rink on the Parkside Avenue side, right. But we're seeing the transformation of the entire park throughout and now we have cars that are not permitted to be there at certain times. So everyone can enjoy that park, whether you're on the Parkside side or the Park Slope side, but it is now a regional destination that everyone can enjoy. But we're very committed to improve that park for everyone.
On the same theme of that question, I was thinking this morning, like I'm a dog guy. I have a dog, and I had a dog, he dearly departed. But when I was walking him around in the park, there's poop there, there's trash there, and a lot of it doesn't require the city to come in. It's like, take some personal responsibility. I don't leave a steaming pile there because there should be a guy from the parks to come and pick it up. How much initiative would you challenge the public to take for cleaning their parks versus the balance of you as the commissioner getting the resources there?
We are exploring a litter campaign. And you are correct, there's a partnership. When we have a park, we do expect there to be a partnership between the citizens. We have a lot of friends groups throughout the city. And then we have park staff. So there's no question we want people to care for their parks and love their parks. Yes, they may have a dog. We want them to make sure that others enjoy it as well. So we are exploring ways of getting the message out. In some cases, we do have signs to ask people, please care for to pick up after both yourself and your dog. Yeah. But we are seeing an improvement. We've changed our schedules where we have more cleaning on weekends to ensure that people enjoy the park experience. But you're absolutely right. This is a shared responsibility between park staff, the citizens, and then we have a lot of friends groups that come in and help care for the park. But this is something I think over time people will start to even share the message, excuse me, can you please pick up after yourself? And people love their parks. So you see that changing.
So in 2014, the Trust for Public Land ranked NYC's parks second in the nation, and this year we come in 5th place. So I don't know, do you pay attention to numbers like that? And if so, why the drop, although slight?
Well, I wouldn't say the drop. They changed some of their methodology. We met with them early on. Still being in the top 5 is still quite good, and we came up very high on certain measures. And they actually changed some of their methods, and they explained to us their new approach. And so for us, being in the top 5 is wonderful. So it wasn't a drop per se. They did change their methodology, but to be in the top 5 in the country, and again, I believe we have the best park system in the world, so I say being in the top 5 in the world is something we're very proud of. And we keep improving what we're doing. So 5, next year we'd be right back at number 2.
Okay.
Or number 1.
At number 2?
Number 1.
Wait,
Minneapolis has an incredible park system, but
parks.
We'll be giving Minneapolis a run for their money.
All those goofy lakes. So just between the 3 of us then, when this report comes out, and you've been on the job since May of 14, so when it's like, okay, we were number 2, now we're number 5, do you get the call from de Blasio and say, hey, Mitchell, you want to come by my office this afternoon? Is this a real metrics? Like, do you talk to other parks commissioners and they're like, hey, we're number 2 this year?
Well, we're developing our own index, so we can really look at the health of our own park system, and that hopefully will be ready in about a year or so. So we now created a new division called Innovation Performance Management, and we're going to look at the diagnostics, the health of our park system, so we know where to target improvements. But we're also doing a number of good things already, streamlining the capital projects, making sure we get projects done as quickly as possible, on time and on budget, over 90%. We have our Parks Without Borders initiative, where we're going to rethink how we connect parks to the public realm and the public space. So we're already seeing a lot of improvement across the board, and the mayor's aware of it, and he's hearing the feedback. They're cleaner, more equity, and we're seeing a lot more improved parks. So we're going to pay attention to that.
And I applaud you for being top 5, honestly. I mean, it's such a gargantuan undertaking coming into this role. And you mentioned improving on the 134 parks that were neglected over the past year. How do you even start there? Are there specific examples you can give us of parks in Brooklyn that you're looking to improve right now?
Well, one is Stroud, which the Prospect Park Alliance is partnering with Jesse Owens. This is another playground. Brooklyn's a place where we don't have a lot of large parks. We have a lot of smaller parks. Right. So in Brooklyn, we want to concentrate on those neighborhood public spaces that people enjoy, both seniors, families, and children. So those are some examples. We're doing a full transformation. And other places, we're doing what we're calling a target improvement. We're doing sports coating, fixing benches, fences, repainting play equipment. And we just released a press release a few weeks ago to show what this looks like. And it is amazing how we've been able to transform it in under a year on spaces that people really enjoy. So there are quite a few, and certainly we can follow up to tell you all, but they're just too numerous to name, but we have quite a few in Brooklyn.
Monday we had City Council members Lori Cumbo and Robert Cornegie here, and they were talking about participatory budgeting and the initiatives they're kicking off in their council districts. But looking at the list of the folks who've done it, parks are always on there, and the public is focusing where they want their money to go. So does participatory budgeting and that influx of cash help you guys fulfill your mission?
Any capital received is going to go toward the parks, and for us it's beneficial. We have a lot of capital needs that are out there. We have a very large park system, close to 30,000 acres. So for us, it's very helpful. But people connect to their parks. These are the living rooms of our city. The more dense city you have, the more these parks and open space mean a lot to the community. So I'm not surprised they want to see improvements, and they're using the process to make sure they direct capital dollars there. So we will use, as a commissioner, I will not say no to any money coming our way, and we'll use it effectively to help improve and transform parks.
So for out-of-towners or in-towners who may not be in the know, here comes a hard-hitting question. What's your favorite park? What are some of the locations that are must-see for people that you drop on them all the time? Or
Well, because I grew up next to Prospect Park, that always has a special place in my heart. I grew up there. As I said, parks are front yards and backyards, and living just 2 blocks away, Prospect Park is near and dear. But we have incredible parks throughout our entire city. I encourage people to go to our website, nyc.gov/parks, and they can explore all the parks throughout the city. We have our newest park in Brooklyn Bridge, that is emerging. Fort Greene, which I live nearby, we're going to see more traffic there as people want to see the views from the top. Sunset Park, I went there for the first time, and what a surprise. I had no idea you had these beautiful views, beautiful soccer fields, and great places where families were enjoying themselves. So we just have these hidden treasures throughout the city. Many of them are small. So I encourage people to go on our website and explore your city and enjoy the parks.
Well, you've been exploring. We've got some photos that you shared with us of your Sunday routine,
Yes.
where you go out and capture some images of the park. We'll just cycle through a few of them here. This is, name this park. No, where
This
are
is
we?
Fort Greene, actually,
Is it?
right
Oh,
there.
that's the new building.
So this is
there.
Fort Greene Park.
what about the towers that are going up around not just Fort Greene Park, but the other parks? Can you comment on those? I mean, you know.
Well, what we're seeing right now is there's just a revolution in the city for more density for people living in our city. This is what's happening in downtown Brooklyn. This is no surprise, and as we see more density, you're seeing more and more people come to our parks.
I think this is Prospect Park, is it?
No, this
Tryon.
is Fort Tryon Park,
Tryon.
and this is Heather Garden. So on your way to the cloisters, that you'll get to see.
Yeah.
This is Alley Pond in Queens. There's an adventure course that we're going to have a retreat with staff, so we can do some bonding. So it is an adventure course people can enjoy. This is a floating lady. This is a pool on a barge, and this is in Barretto Point Park. So this is something now that you can go to. We have to move it every year.
I was about to say, when is it coming back?
It comes back every summer.
Listen, our parks commissioner's from Brooklyn. We need to see a floating barge little situation pool here very soon.
And this one, I believe, is off.
in Queens?
Yeah, I believe this is in Flushing Metacrona Park.
Right.
This was part of the Dragon Boat
Yeah.
Festival exercises. So again, another wonderful park. This one is Highland Park. Not far from East New York. It's on the border of Brooklyn and Queens. This is a new running path that was just created. This is McGlorick Park. Very exciting park right there, Williamsburg, Greenpoint area.
That's a great park.
It is a great park.
Very underrated.
And it's one that I really enjoyed. So those are some of the places I go to. To me, as a commissioner, I have to experience the park system. You can't just do it by reading and getting briefings from staff. I like to go out there, see how people use them, how we care for those parks, so I can really focus on what we can do to make sure we have the best park system as possible.
Mr. Silver, thank you so much for being here. Real quick, how do people get involved if they want to help out in the parks or help clean?
Wow. We have a website. We have a group called Partnership for Parks. We have worked with Friends of. We have well over, I think, over 1,000 Friends groups throughout the city. And so we encourage people, if they're interested, you can contact, same website, nyc.gov/parks. Look for Partnership for Parks, and then we can help them get involved.
Okay, we've got the last 30 seconds. How are you getting ready for the Pope?
A lot of activity. As you know, there'll be a visit in our parks, so we're working with NYPD and others. We're very excited. This is going to be a historic event, and we're very glad that Central Park will be one of those places the Pope will visit. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But we're very delighted that the Pope has picked the most world famous park to visit. So
And
we're
delighted
excited.
that its beauty will be on full display. Thank
It
you very
sure
much,
will.
and congratulations on keeping our parks in such great shape and in such national esteem, if you will.
Thank you.